The Armstrong and Getty Show.
We will get to the woman who's looking for advice about her boyfriend that gets in a fight every time they go to the Waffle House in about 10 minutes or so.
Oh, boy.
It's a good story.
Jim Desmond is a supervisor for the San Diego County Board of Supervisors for District 5. He's a guy with quite an interesting resume. He's served as a mayor and a city council member, a regional transportation committee guy. He's a U.S. Navy veteran, an electrical engineer from San Diego State University, and he thinks the state of Cal Unicornia needs to set more realistic standards for counties to open up and get people back to work and feeding themselves. Jim Desmond joins us now. Jim, how are you, sir?
Hey, Jack and Joe, great. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. So, listen, as a guy in pretty good touch with the business community, I assume you, like us, believe smart people can open up their businesses in smart ways and start feeding themselves again.
Well, absolutely. I mean, it's become a choice in California of open for businesses or playing it safe. And quite frankly, we can do both. I mean, we've already proven it with the essential businesses being open and getting people through grocery stores and the big box stores. And our numbers went down. The trends went down. The curve was flattened while we had essential businesses open. And so I want to be able to continue those same guidelines that those essential businesses are following and allow some of the non-essential businesses that same opportunity so they can start to feed their families and give paychecks to people. We got over 25% unemployment in San Diego County. It's crazy that we're just, and then the governor puts in unattainable goals that's going to stagnate us even further.
So we were talking about a restaurant in Colorado earlier that opened up over the weekend for Mother's Day, and it got a lot of national attention, and people were lined up around the block to go eat and everything like that, and people were cheering, and it was a happy story. And then they got hit with a giant fine yesterday for disobeying the orders.
Had their license yanked, too. Yeah.
So what would the current situation be if somebody tried to open in your area right now?
Well, right now, what we're looking at is in a couple different counties, Yuba and Sutter County in Northern California. They tried to do the same thing to start opening up businesses, and then the governor, I have a copy of his letter he sent to them. The governor's office said, "Hey, if we're going to start pulling your ABC licenses, we can start pulling your cosmetology licenses. If you have a surge, we will no longer, support you or give you monies for that effort." So basically, he's holding the taxpayers' dollars hostage, along with the professional licenses and things like that the state grants. So he's already done that and put that threat out to Yuba and Sutter counties here in California. But what he did was, we don't get too deep into it, but he not only moved the goalposts, he tore them down. He said we can't have any COVID-related deaths in San Diego County or any county for 14 consecutive days before we can move any further.
Not a single one.
COVID-related
for 2 weeks.
death, and we've had 175 COVID-related deaths in San Diego County. 6 of those were purely COVID deaths.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, San Diego County has a population of over 3 million people. So yes. The idea there can't be one COVID-related death for 2 weeks, that's insane.
For 2 weeks.
That is one side of the argument utterly pushing over the other one, which is we can't have an economic collapse. That's just shocking.
Well, and that's unfortunate. I mean, we can do both. We can be safe and we can be open. It's ridiculous that we can move thousands of people through grocery stores in a day, but we can't put 50 people through a car dealership in a day, or 100 people through a furniture store. Those places are closed and shut down, and they're just laying off people. And we keep hearing about every day more and more businesses that are just shuttering, and they're saying, we can't handle it. We can't sustain this.
Well, so just a brief thought. It strikes me.
We can do both.
It's right. It strikes me that you're saying, listen, we can do it and be safe. But what the governor of Cal Unicornia is demanding is that you do it and be perfectly safe, almost literally perfectly safe. If you can't have a single death over the course of 2 weeks, when you have tens of thousands of people filing for unemployment just in your district.
Well, and unfortunately we had 6 pure solely coronavirus deaths, 6 out of 3.3 million people. I mean, what number are we trying to get to? with those odds. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, we want to be safe, and we can do it, but unfortunately, it seems more about control than about getting the economy going again and keeping people safe.
I don't know what it's about. I don't know if they're reading the polls and thinking this is a winning issue, or I don't get it now. I mean, if you started from today, if things weren't closed down, and we weren't talking about opening things up, we were talking about whether we should shut things down. With the number of deaths we've had, you wouldn't shut everything down. There's no way you'd win that argument. Well, we've had 6 deaths. We better shut down everything that exists except for restaurants. Nobody would buy that argument.
No, and we still have to protect, our seniors and senior facilities.
Of course.
Are vulnerable. We absolutely have to protect. So I'm not advocating for reducing any of the personal health requirements. Keep them all in place. But let's let our businesses open under those same guidelines. The essential ones in, we phase them in. So in case we get a surge, then we can, we won't be so far out on the limb. But it just makes common sense to a lot of people is that, we can do both together. We can be safe and we can be open.
Amen to that. And there are a lot of people saying the same thing, but your voice is absolutely welcome. Jim Desmond, supervisor for the San Diego County Board of Soups, District 5. Hey, Jim, it's good to talk. Let's stay in touch.
Hey, thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
You got it. Good job.
I don't know if that made sense what I was trying to say. It's like sometimes you do that like with stocks. Like, would you have the stock today? It doesn't matter if you've had it for years. Would you buy it today? Is it a good idea to have it?
Right.
What happened in the past doesn't matter. Would it be a good idea to shut down everything today based on the number of deaths? No, I don't think most people would go along with that.
Right. You could counter-argue that part of the reason the number's been so low is that we have been shut down. But even if that is true, we need to push it. We need to push how open we are and see what happens. The idea that we're going to go for perfect safety at any cost is that of the safety obsessives. And I would say unicornians who don't understand how businesses work, don't understand how economies work, and don't understand that the capacity for government to just pay for everybody's life is limited. The one side has had 98% of the discussion.
Well, and he said, I don't know what's driving it. If it's power, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's power. I think I generally just assume politicians are looking at polls and whatever's going to get them elected. And, the most recent polls, pretty overwhelmingly, people are in favor of staying locked down rather than opening up.
Yeah.
Way overreaction, in my opinion. I think that will be the history of this going forward years from now. We way overreacted. And maybe not at the beginning, but certainly after we got into it and realized where we were.
Yeah, we had a certain momentum towards safety. And anybody advocating turning it around was accused of being callous toward the deaths of our old folks or whomever, or the rare 32-year-old mother of three.
And trying to get through everybody's heads that, no, we're not going to go back to the way it was in December. We're going to be wearing masks and washing our hands like crazy and opening doors with our shoulders and not standing very close to anybody and all these things that we just do on our own because we're worried about the virus.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a difference between a representative representing and leading, and I think we need more leadership. We need more people saying, listen, I know a lot of y'all are scared, but those are the sheeple, honestly, or the vulnerable, and we will do everything we can to protect the vulnerable, but those who think the only question is safety cannot be in charge. They don't have a realistic adult enough point of view to be put in charge of what we do.
Okay,
it's time for them to step aside.